Well, I'm going to tell you another advertising story, but I want you to pay attention to the technique and what happens in it. I didn't know we're selling advertising, but what happens can happen for many products. I'll call this story More is Less. Many years ago, I was trying to sell a local jewelry store on radio advertising. He was an advertiser. He bought a full-page ad in the local daily paper, one a week for 6 weeks prior to Christmas. He spent $12,000 buying a full-page ad. So I studied some statistics about full-page ads. And they work. And he was on page 3, which is considered to be the place to advertise. So I went to see him to buy some radio advertising to go with his newspaper advertising, and he said he'd spent his budget that year, and maybe I should come back the following year. Of course, most people don't expect the sales rep to actually come back the following year, but I did. That surprises him. But I'd learned something about newspaper advertising. 83% of the people who read newspaper ads only read the ads of the stores they already are familiar with. So he's buying a full-page ad. It says Great West Gold and Diamond on it. And if people didn't shop there, guess what? They turned the page. Interesting. So I researched how many people read 3/4 page ads. And it was almost the same number of people who read 3/4 page ads. But what happens if you buy a 3/4 page ad on page 3 in a daily newspaper? They have to fill this space. And what do they fill that space with? Not an ad. They fill that space with a news story. So somebody turns to page 3, might not necessarily want to read Great West Gold and Diamond ad, but they read this news story. So what happens? While they're reading the news story, they're seeing his ad. He gets more response by buying less. So then what happens to this money? He buys radio. And what do we do with the radio advertising? Talk about diamonds? Talk about watches? It's radio. It's theater of the mind. So what we do with the radio advertising is we tell people to get their daily paper and turn to page 3 to read his ad. So, took money from the competition, legitimately, and with good reason, got him to buy less, bought more with me, and guess what? He increased his Christmas business by 20%. Why? Because more people had heard of his store, and therefore they were willing to read his ad. So it's the same in the business we're in today. We're into internet advertising. Why? Because everybody's on the internet. They're on some kind of social media platform, or they're on Google, or they're somewhere. So when you want to get more people to know about your company, to hear about you, so that they'll read your ads, or they'll listen to your radio ads, or watch your other television ads, how do you tell people that you're around, you're in business, you're alive, and you've got something that they want to buy? The internet. That's what we do. We're Online Ads Victoria. We sell internet ads for less to give you more.